We are in Cane Springs, Utah at a rest area where there's a hole in the rock. It's 400 feet from where I'm filming right now. And just to make sure you don't miss it, they painted a little arrow on here to point to where it is. And just to make sure you knew that it was the hole in the rock, they painted a little sign on the rock saying, hey, here's a hole in the rock. We're off on an adventure to do needles today, and maybe a short hike to a waterfall. We'll see. Where else can you be just driving along the road and see a sign that says something like Wilson Arch, next right? And there is a beautiful stone arch. Gorgeous. We are at Newspaper Rock Petroglyphs, which is a place where early settlers, when they were traveling through here, would sign their names or leave their emblem so that their relatives would know they made it safely when they followed along later. In fact, here's the sign. It probably corrects some of what I just told you. So the sign corrected me. They believe some of this goes back to over 2,000 years. Various Indians that have made markings. Experts have studied them and are undecided as to what their meaning is, what story they're trying to tell, etc. But it is quite amazing. There's a 6-toed footprint. As we are approaching the park, we're about 20 miles away, and the scenery is just too beautiful to ignore. So, hi! So we stopped to just look at the surroundings as we're driving down this road, and we're not even in the park yet. We are finally up to the Canyonlands National Park entrance on the south side. Where are we?
We're at Canyonlands.
Canyonlands
but
Needles.
This time we're at Needles, which we haven't been to before.
That's right.
And it is rather remote.
Another sandstone-built visitor center. We are at a short trail to a storehouse trail it's called, where some indigenous people built a storehouse. So we'll walk the 3/10 of a mile round trip to go see that. It's very deserty, isn't it, my love?
Really hot, too.
This is an indigenous Indian grass. My memory failed me. It's an Indian rice grass. And these, with the little white flowery things, are known as pepper grass. They have white disc-like seeds that the Indians used to grind up into a spice. And this is known as big sagebrush.
Grass.
No, sagebrush, not grass. The limbs, they said they could twine them together and make a weak kind of cord. And I already forgot what the flowers do. They use that for yellow dye. And this is the Fremont barberry. The hoppy extract makes a bright yellow dye from the roots of the shrub, and various tools can be made out of the stems. And the flowers, I don't see many flowers, but it must bloom some other time, turn into edible berries. And here is the four-wing saltbush, the seeds of which are used as food, and the ashes, when you burn them, is used as flour, baking soda. And here is the narrow-leaved yucca. Tribes used almost every part of this plant. Sharp spikes were used as needles. Leaf fibers could be made into a cord or a rope, woven into sandals or mats. And flowers and fruits can be eaten. And the roots yield saponin, a substance that they used for soap. So there is the indigenous Indian storehouse. Structures like this were, they held corn, or seeds or nuts. They could have been used for storage for ceremonial items for religious services, in which case they would put them in hidden places, kind of like this one. The small rectangular doors are covered with slabs of rock. This structure's door are on the top, up there. So thieves would come break in and steal them. Rodents would eat all the food. And that's about all they've found in this one. There it is, tucked away. So this is the Utah juniper tree. Very fibrous stuff that they use to make diapers and boarding for the baby's cribs. Or you could pierce some of the beads, the seeds together as beads. Yep, these are like pine nuts. Go ahead.
The canyons that we've been going through are juniper pinion canyons. They call them JP canyons for short.
JP canyons, because this is the pinyon tree. That was the juniper tree. They're right next to each other.
Yeah.
And they have a little nut, kind of like pine nuts, that have been important food for humans as well as rodents. They can be eaten raw or roasted.
A bunch of little nuts up there.
There they are, little pine cone looking things. That's why they call them pine nuts. So there's potholes on the slick rock that we were told to avoid stepping in because there's creatures in there incubating or being born or something. Eggs, yep.
Waiting for the next rainfall.
And you can see the cairns. She called them Karens, the ranger. But there they are guiding us on our way. And last on our tour is the prickly pear cactus. The pads can be eaten with sweet, juicy, edible fruit after you remove the spines. You scrape them off for medicinal purposes. You can split the cactus pad open and apply it directly to the surface of a wound.
Yep.
We are driving down Cave Springs Road, dirt road, off the beaten path with some amazing big rocks as usual. And that's where we're headed, to the spring. I'm going to zoom in though on a formation that is off in the distance there that looks pretty impressive. As we're driving, we're just commenting how all these formations look like little mushroom heads with big rocks on top of narrower necks. What's that? Oh, they look crazy.
There's more.
Oh, it's still recording. Thank you.
Sorry.
We are beginning Cave Spring Trail, which leads to a cowboy camp, because this was one of the only year-round water sources that were available, so you could set up a camp. We are coming up on the cowboy camp, I do believe. Looks like a gate for, you put horses through there. All sorts of tables and cabinets and basins. Stuff for cooking, for working on horse-related stuff. Box springs, that's interesting. All under the shelter of this nice cave. We're under some more rock, and looks like some kind of storage bin. They stored mushrooms here?
No, this is
Oh, we're underneath a mushroom formation.
mushrooms we're taking pictures of.
Yeah. Okay, you walk around this corner and you go into a deeper cave. Way back in there. Interesting. We are at the spring. You can see all the green plants growing on the walls. And there's the spring itself. It's got a little bit of water there. And they believe the ancient Indians came here seasonally, but in here they cooked and had fires for heat because it has left the ceiling very blackened. Here is another elongated cave with, you can see water seeping in on the walls. Just around the bend, some more cave dwelling depth. Where does that go? As you leave that part of the cave, you see there's another layer up there where they could go and dwell and store. How's the ladder? Is it hot?
Not warm until the last one.
Okay. Hot sun on metal ladder. Be careful. There she is at the top of the second ladder. As we wind around the path under these rocks. We made it to the peak here. This is quite the view of the canyon. Oh, and the sun is lighting up those buttes and that configuration over there and those mountains way over there. Lit up nicely. I'm sure the camera's not doing it justice. I know my viewfinder isn't. They're beautiful. Oh, more over there. Half lit up. Thank the Lord for these cairns that they keep putting here to keep us on the trail. You can see by the black marks the varnish on the walls that we are above the cave where we were a few minutes ago. This is, it meets the minimum definition of an arc, doesn't it? At least 3 feet open circle underneath.
Is it connected on top?
Yeah, maybe it's 2 side by side, I'm not sure. We are getting closer to the needles. There they are. Hi.
Oh, hi.
Look at how that red rock fell on that white rock and took a chunk out of it. This is where the Elephant Hill Road changes from 2-wheel drive to 4-wheel drive, and you have to have a permit. There is a trail that takes you up to Elephant Hill. It's 1.5 miles long. You cannot see the needles from here like we thought we would, but and so we're going to go try to find one more trail to do before the day ends. We are at the end of the road, and there is a raven who likes being on top of our car at this beautiful vista space that we have. See, it is indeed the end of the road, as you can tell by the orange and white striped bars. There is a strenuous trail here that we're not going to take, but there are a lot of beautiful buttes in the valley to see. I went out and stood at the base of this configuration here, which goes out that way, and have this beautiful panoramic view cast in the shadows. And that's back to the parking lot where our car is still under attack by ravens. We have come to Pothole Point Trail and have walked out as far as we're going to go, getting us as close as we can be to the needles. And there they are. And I'll zoom out so you can kind of see how far away I really am. And As we head back to the car, we see the mountains of La Salle in the distance and the sun lighting up all the formations from there, and the beautiful wife headed back to the car. And what a way to close the day out. On the way home we see a rainbow because it's raining around some of the places. We haven't been in much rain, but there is a beautiful rainbow. I hope you can see it on the camera. It looks terrible on my monitor display, but it looks beautiful here in real life. You can see the shadow of the other configuration on the sidewall of that one. So it's been a great day. Farewell. And that rainbow is now a double rainbow right in front of us.
The pot of gold is that rock right in front of us.
Pot of gold is that rock.
There's 2 pots of gold.
It's amazing. Beautiful.
That's so great.
It is a full rainbow all the way across. Woo!